Introduction to Proofs, Justifying Statements. All right. So this one is looking like angle proofs. So what they're asking you to do is, let's see, we read our givens. Given that DEF, measure of angle DEF, is equal to measure of angle HGF. So always try and understand what they're saying. So they're saying that this angle down here is equal to this one up here, and that angle 1 is equal to angle 3. All right. And then they want you to prove that angle 2 is equal to angle 4. Okay. And the nice thing about this, it's an intro proof, so they're giving you all the statements. They're actually walking you through it and showing you how it's true, and they just want you to write out the reasoning behind it. So if we can spend enough time figuring out what they did, we should be able to then figure out the reasons. So first thing they did, they wrote down that the measure of DEF is equal to the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2. Sure, that makes sense. And that the measure of HGF is equal to the measure of angle 3 plus the measure of angle 4. Now you'll notice that neither of those is the given. ALEKS doesn't always start with the given. I like to start with the given. I like to throw them in there right away, but ALEKS is, I mean, they just do by their own things. So they don't always start with the given. This feels like an addition property, but it is not. Addition property is where you add the same thing on both sides to get to the next step. This is an angle addition property, when you add two angles to get a bigger angle, okay? So both of these are angle addition properties, okay? By the way, if you noticed, there's also a segment addition property too above it. You can do the same thing with segments. Keep that in mind. Okay. Now, the next one says measure of angle DEF is equal to the measure of angle HGF. Well, that is our given right there. So that is a given. In fact, I would always recommend looking and finding your givens. So measure of angle 1 equals measure of angle 3. That's line 5 down here. Let's go fill that in. There we go. Okay. So they figured that line 3 was the time that they needed to tell us that. So let's keep that in mind. They went ahead and added angles together, line 1 and 2. And then they said, oh, 3, I better remind you that DEF is equal to HGF. And now they said, that means then that 1 plus 2 must equal 3 plus 4. Why were they able to set 1 plus 2 equal to 3 plus 4? Well, 1 plus 2 is the same thing as DEF, and 3 plus 4 is the same thing as HGF. They substituted HGF, they substituted for 3 plus 4, and they substituted DEF, they substituted in 1 plus 2. So that's substitution. There we go. Oop. I accidentally put something in down there at 7. Ignore that. That's not correct. Okay, so number 4 is substitution. All right. Now, after they substituted, they went ahead and said, oh, by the way, we need to remind you that angle 1 is the same thing as angle 3. You keep that in mind. And then they went on to line 6, and they said, now, angle 3 plus angle 2 is the same thing as angle 3 plus angle 4. If you look at line 4 and line 6, the only change between line 4 and line 6 is this piece right here. Measure of angle 1 became measure of angle 3, and that's because of this. 1 and 3 are the same thing. What they did was they put 3 in here. They substituted 1 for 3. That's a substitution. Substitution. Come on. Okay. My goodness, this was a given. Come on. Okay. Proofs and I are not getting along today, obviously. Get out of there. Oh my goodness. Everything became... There we go. So far, good. Let's look at the last one. Now they said, going from 6 to 7, they said, now we can prove that angle 2 is equal to angle 4. How do we move from line 6 to line 7? Well, we do have a 2 on one side and we do have a 4 on the other side, but we had a 3 on each side. How did they get rid of the 3? How can you get rid of the same item on both sides of an equality? What do you do to get rid of the same thing on both sides? You subtract it. Yep. This is how you do that proof. And that's a little tricky, and it's going to be a little bit difficult at first, but write this down, screenshot it, think it through a few times, and this will become a little bit second nature after a while. Oh, statement 1. Oh, I accidentally got that changed. That was angle addition in there. There we go. There we go. All right. Now it's good.